Alright, folks, let's talk about where we stand right now. It's currently December 1st, 3029, second month of our contract for Operation Bronze Medal, and things are looking up. One thing the Lyrans are good at doing is making a lot of heavy mechs, and one thing that they apparently excel at is delivering them right to our doorstep. We've thus far managed to pick up not just a grasshopper, but also we managed to pick up that Warhammer, and it was in good enough shape that over the last 2 weeks, because once again the Lyrans decided to skip a week for actually giving us engagements, we were able to get it fixed up enough to put Lieutenant Allen into it. I figure she's been doing lots of good work for the company. Probably deserves an upgrade. Now, this does mean that she's going to be a little slow on the reinforcement with Big Sky, but since Lieutenant Gerald Ueda is there, since Zero's there to be kind of first on scene, I figure that we can just let that slide for a bit. So this has shaken up the team's dispositions somewhat. Lots of people got upgraded mechs. We've finally gotten everyone out of those light mechs that, I just find distasteful, and put them into something semi-decent. Central Lance has expanded significantly. It's now a 390-ton assault lance, consisting of Captain Kobe in a Stalker, Sergeant Li Xuan Guang in a Marauder, Sergeant Barati Ruma in her Thunderbolt. We've got Babe in her Wolverine, Corporal Mike Manassa, this is the guy that was previously in the Urban Mech Twitch, has been upgraded to a Wolverine. And we've also got Private Pia Croce, Dagger, our resident, really needs a lot of extra XP intern, sitting on Central Lance as well. The idea being that since there's so much skill and firepower on this team already, we can kind of lean on them to start, uh, but to kind of put some damage on stuff, and then hopefully allow Dagger to finish him off so that she can just get more unit XP. Desperately needs it. Big Sky got shaken up significantly. Uh, well, I say significantly. Biggest thing is that we've uh, have just added this Warhammer in place of Sassy's previous Wolverine. Everything else is mostly the same. Corporal Katie Tripp, Icicle, who was previously in that 20-ton piece of garbage. No offense, Icicle, but it's a piece of garbage. They're 20-tonners. You shouldn't have been on the battlefield with it. Um, she's been finally upgraded to the Hermes that Dizzy brought along with him, and Dizzy has been put into better mech. More on him in a moment. But otherwise, it's pretty much the same loadout. It's still a recon lance. It's just one element of it is in a Warhammer, and even though that's slightly slower than most others, it'll still deploy on the next turn, and it'll still be able to engage pretty quickly since it is packing two PPCs, which will give her some long range punch. Between that and her decent accuracy and the fact that she's oh so close to getting enough XP to finally be able to pick up a plus three, or pick up a 3+ gunnery, good stuff, good stuff. Now, one thing when we do lose out of this lance that does hurt is without Master Sergeant Numair Saeed, without Dizzy, we don't get that huge bonus to tactics we were getting before, but I kind of put it somewhere that needs it more. Firebrand Lance is now a heavy lance. Oh, that reminds me, I need to change their. This isn't done automatically. I gotta do this. It's a heavy lance, but it's short by about 40 tons of the maximum. But I figure that's okay at this point because we do have Master Sergeant Numair Saeed in that Grasshopper. That's is a 70-ton jump jetting, has a bunch of medium lasers and large lasers mech. Guy's not a super fan of lasers over ballistics, but he was happy to finally get a heavier mech, and he actually has the skill Jumping Jack, which means that he takes less penalties on jump jetting and then firing. So we can rely on him to jump jet into position, to lay down a lot of fire, and then to kind of stick in, because the Grasshopper is a heavy enough mech that it can kind of take a bunch of punishment. Mix that up with the Crusader, and Centurion, and so Corporal Wilfred Hardy, guy who hasn't seen any action yet, a prisoner that we took during the last operation, has been stuffed into what used to be Genie's Dervish. I'm still not a super fan of this mech, but it's okay. It's good enough, and if it explodes with him in it, we'll blame it on him. I mean, hopefully we can get him another mech to replace that soon. And in Avenger Lance, only real noticeable thing is that we actually gave Huang a background. Go you, Huang. Contract market doesn't matter. Unit market isn't much to talk about. There's another Crusader that we could potentially buy, but other than that, the only other thing that catches my eye, there is an awesome out here. This is what I was thinking of originally when I was talking about a 3 PPC variant. I was getting that mixed up between the Warhammer and the Awesome, because they're both just kind of boxy mechs. I mean, I wish I could show you. Well, I definitely can show you a picture of this thing. Hang on. Do do do. There's your Awesome. Wait, not a Marauder. Uh, just look at the Warhammer. You can forgive me for getting those kind of looking the same. Don't. Okay, maybe not. Sue me. There's lots of different mechs. Point is, both of them are PPC packers, and this one packs 3 PPCs and then a small laser. But the biggest thing is that this particular model is so undergunned in anything other than PPCs so that it can mount 28 damn heat sinks. So it can fire all 3 of those PPCs every turn. That's 30 points of damage going downrange at a distant rate, at a good distance. This would be an excellent thing to pick up and put someone like Pugs into, Li Guang, our sharpshooter, because just the amount of damage she would be able to put out with this would be delicious. So, kind of aiming to see if we, right now, we could purchase it, but I kind of want a more comfortable margin. We do have some income that's coming in a little bit because we've got still some stingers that I'm working on getting completely repaired. Once I get those into a workable state, I'm going to go ahead, sell them off, and they'll be worth money. We held on to the Wasp, and we're going to mothball the Urban Mech here, just that we can kind of give them out to people who might want to retire. Or sell them in emergency. Just in either case, people actually brought these mechs in. It feels a little disingenuous to just sell them off without, when they are still in perfectly workable condition. In any case, not much changed in the personnel roster other than that. Not much changed in our, you can see that we, apart from the new mechs, not much more to speak about here. In that case, the last thing is the briefing for this week, and that's really, I guess, going to be part of the actual briefing. Although, we do have 2 missions that are coming up. Should actually talk about the month events. So, enemy morale is still low. It was low when we got here, it's still low, they're holding out, but just another demonstration of how apparently the Draconis are way more on top of shit. They've got reinforcements coming in. The next roll that these guys make is going to be at a -1. That means if we can really slam them on 1 engagements this month, like if we can win just a bunch of stuff that they throw at us, they're going to get huge penalties to their morale, and we might even be able to go, skip very low and go straight to routed and get an early victory on this contract. And that would be excellent, because then I could do things like deploy Genie into a training lance, or deploy a dagger into a training lance and get her some guaranteed XP. Other than that, I think that we're good just to truck along. This one has been going much better. We're gaining mechs. We are gaining resources. We haven't lost any mechs significantly. Taken some rough damage, but nothing that we haven't been able to repair because, just such a such a great repair team. I just can't overstate how much work that they've done. It's just been absolutely beautiful. Um, but yeah, really short this time. I bet you guys are looking, glad for that after all those long ones. But stay tuned. We've got an encounter to go through. See ya.